Greetings, Neverwinters, and welcome back to the Inside Neverwinter podcast. Remember, the only Neverwinter exclusive podcast. Today's date is Thursday, January 23rd, 2014. I'm your host, TJ Takuya, aka Peter James. With me today are my two co-hosts, JDog, say hello.
Hello.
And Phobet.
Hi everyone, how you doing today?
Alright guys, we're back in full force here. Last week we were missing a guy, and we've just been trying really hard, just all over. We are moving up our recording slots to Thursdays. So I know I mentioned on Twitter, a couple other places like the forums that we'll be moving up to like a Throwback Thursday kind of upload, so that we'll get an additional episode every week. We're also going to be just moving our production schedule up a couple days, making the schedule more accessible for everybody. So look for 2 episodes, middle of the week. Get ready for your weekend. Listen to us while you are in game, off from work, whatever you happen to be doing, so that you can enjoy. Remember, you can find us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at inside_NW, capital N, capital W, or shoot us an email, insidenetworkpodcast@gmail.com. Remember, we're also on iTunes and Podbean. We love to have your feedback in those places as well. We always love to share viewer feedback on the show and give you a shout out. We've had a lot of great talk from you guys, the listeners, over this week. A little too much, I would say, at the start here. A little too much for me to go into in person there. I'll make sure to get everyone a shout out next week. There's just a little bit too much. There's just been a little bit too much to plan for today. So without further ado, let's kind of get into what we've all been doing here today. So JDog, let's start with you. What was your big activity this week? I know I didn't see a lot in Neverwinter, but what were you up to?
I was up to setting up my new PC that I got. It's a Dell.
Neat.
It's pretty good. I mean, it can run Skyrim on high graphics at 60 frames per second, so I guess that's good. And it was a very big improvement. I was very happy that, my grandpa was nice enough to get me that. And I have been knees deep in Dark Souls this whole entire week.
Right.
I mean, it got done downloading 2 days ago, and I've just been playing that nonstop. It's one of the hardest games I've ever played. But I did get on, I think it was either Monday or Tuesday, and I got to Invoke, and then I just got off, and I was playing Starbound a lot. If you guys know what Starbound is, then it's a pretty cool game. It's still in beta and everything, but
Tell us a little bit about Starbound.
Well, if you've ever played Terraria, it's made by the same people, but it's basically a 32-bit game. Well, it's a bit game, I could say. I don't really know the bit count, but
What's the name of this game?
It's called Starbound.
Starbound, okay. Is it an RTS, real-time strategy, or?
No, it's a side scroller. Like,
okay.
There's
like
only 2
Oddworld?
directions. Like, you can only go left or right.
Right.
And it involves spaceships and all this other stuff. And the cool thing is that you can play it for hours at a time and not get bored. Like Neverwinter, I've been knees deep in a whole bunch of stuff lately because my new computer has been capable of me being able to do these things really easily and fun.
You're discovering all the new things that you can do with it, or playing Borderlands 2 with the graphics turned up and like, wow, I didn't know that's what it looked like. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when I first got it, I was like, I need to download Skyrim and test this thing's capabilities, and it just blew my mind when I can play everything on high. And I mean, I'm like, whoa, I've never had something like this before. If you want to test it out, there's a program called 3D Mark that you can test it on your old computer, test it on your new computer, and you'll actually have some concrete numbers and say, holy crap, this thing is fast. Yeah, and since my laptop is an HP, and the desktop is a Dell, I don't know the differences, but I've heard Dell is better, and from that, it's definitely better. And but I don't want to start an HP and Dell war by saying that in the comments or anything. But yeah, I've just been knees deep in a whole bunch of other games. Dark Souls is aggravating the crap out of me. If y'all went through that, it's Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition. It's just
Well, the title kind of says it all.
Well, yeah, but
It's kind of a
it's
warning.
challenging. It's a bunch of trial and error, basically. I'm at the point where you have to fight the two gargoyles up on the church, and it's just like, wow.
I've not yet played this, so I have no clue.
You might want to YouTube it, because there might be a tactic that you could use that, something that's a subtle, that's a subtle ability that, I don't use it because I'll never use that, but then someone uses it and I'm like, oh wow, it really does work when I use it with this.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that YouTube's the internet's Walmart, basically.
The internet's Walmart?
Everything's on it.
This reminded me of the site People of Walmart.
Oh goodness, that website.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't understand where all these people are, because I never see that much tackiness and white trashery at Walmart.
Well,
but nonetheless, it happens.
Go there late at night. I know. Up where I live in New Hampshire, we have a Walmart in Amherst, and they're 24 hours. I've gone there at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and man, the freaks do come out at night.
Ooh. I've been in Walmart one time. It was right before they were closing. Okay, I was with my family. I had to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom. There was this giant lady that had sweatpants on, and she had a tank top on, and man, all you could see was a giant ball. And I was like, oh my gosh, why?
So I take it you were in the wrong bathroom.
No, she was at the cash register.
Oh, okay,
and the funny thing was she could barely fit through the tight space. It's not really that tight, but she could barely fit through the space through the cash line. Yeah, I felt embarrassed for her. I was just glad that no one else was there to see that.
That's probably why she comes out late at night.
No, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just
nothing about being mean. It's calling the truth. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, she was calorically challenged.
All right. Well, so that's JDog, Phobet. What was your week like?
My week was pretty much uneventful. I'm doing 2 campaigns. I'm doing the Sharandar. Well, there is only 2, so I'm doing the 2 campaigns: the Sharandar and the Dread Ring. I'm finding I'm liking Sharandar a lot better. Sharandar seems to be it seems to be more. It seems to be bright. It seems like the environment seems to be more. Cosmetically friendly, I guess you could say. I find, when I'm in Dread Ring, I find it to be depressing.
It's so dread.
It is, yeah.
The colors are just nicer. They're a little more vibrant in Sharandar. When you're playing Dread Ring, you mostly are looking at this kind of almost post-apocalyptic fantasy wasteland here. You see all these skeleton bones, and there's desert, and there's not life anywhere.
Yeah, that reminds me of a game I played a long time ago. Based on the Terminator movie. I think it was Terminator 2 or T2 or something like that. They actually came out with a first-person shooter. And that's what it reminded me of, these buildings that are turned over and torn down, and it's just desolate, and that's what it reminds me of.
Are you talking about Metro 2025 or Metro, the new Metro? No, the recent one?
Well, no, I played that too, but no, this is way before Steam.
Yeah, you said this was a Terminator game.
His voice cut out, so
before the current age of digital downloads and things, and our current new age of graphics and everything is wonderfully realistic. I think I remember the game you're talking about. It was on PC, right?
Yeah, it was on the PC, and I think it was on 2 or 3 floppies.
Oh goodness, that is old. Man.
Yeah,
floppy.
Old school for the win.
Now,
Dude,
the thing
I don't think I've had a game on floppy disk since Wolfenstein or Master of Orion. Do you remember those games?
Wolfenstein. Yeah. Oh my god, Castle Wolfenstein. Oh yes. My god,
I've played that.
That rocked.
So many memories of just my dad sitting in a computer when I was little. I would go watch what he was doing for 10 minutes, and then I'd get scared, and I would have to go go to bed for the night, and I'd just be so afraid for him sitting in his computer. It felt dangerous to me as a kid. That's what it was like. And Master of Orion was kind of like the one of the first galactic strategy games. Your goal was to conquer planets or conquer systems, and you're either trying to reach a galactic win or like a conquest win, just however you wanted to win. You had like 10 different ways of doing it, and your difficulty was in how smart the AI was in getting to your objective before you, cutting you off from the main things that were going to boost you forward. But
yeah,
what were you going to say?
I was going to say, when I was growing up, I'm not as old as you two. Well, I'm not trying to be mean in saying that, but
sure you are. We know you.
Right, we're ancient, man. It's okay.
Well, I guess, yeah. Well, anyway, I grew up watching my dad play XCOM on the PlayStation 2, and that game gave me night terrors.
XCOM on the PS2?
Yeah, I mean, well, first it was on the PS1, but then when the PS2 came out, we got one. And then he got the one where it was compatible and everything, so he was playing on the PS2 and everything, and I just got...
Man, that game. Yeah, I bring back some memory, too.
Like, every time he would win and, like, you'd see the dead aliens, I mean, that just scared the crap out of me. And,
Did you ever get over it?
Yeah, No. I'm still I still have a deathly night terror about aliens. Believe me. I imagine them coming out of my closet and sucking out my brain.
Reapers are after you, bro. The original Reapers. Actually, it may have something in common with BioWare's Reapers.
Oh, BioWare, yeah.
And floaters, and oh gosh, the aliens! Oh, I love games.
I know, right?
I think we're just too steeped in game culture by now. I think they've been around for so long. They've kind of grabbed us and kept us with us. And so the search for new games and the way games change, kind of is shaping those old interests into new things.
I mean, imagine if we didn't have video games. Imagine what the world would be like today.
Like the Footloose town, we'd all be trying to dance still.
Yeah, we'd be dancing in the middle of the street.
Conquest.
I mean, we'd have all these nice cars. People would be dancing in the streets, getting hit by them, and all this crap. I mean, we'd all be dead if there were no video games. Let's just put it like that.
Right. Farewell life. We have no video games. We're just gonna go kill ourselves.
Only cockroaches would be alive. Nuclear fallout would happen and everything.
Nuclear? What are you trying to say there? Nuclear? What's nuclear about it?
I don't understand your reference.
Are you sure you don't mean nuclear?
Who you calling Pinhead?
Mr. Potter.
So that's
Ronald Weasley.
So that's us. Me been tinkering along on brand new characters. Playing a new cleric, as well as revisiting the Guardian Fighter again. Just playing alts, and really that's what I've been doing. Like, I spend most of my time when I'm not in bed or at work. I wind up on the computer playing Neverwinter, or at least kind of alt tabbed or something. With guild business, with podcast stuff, I wind up kind of just sticking around on the computer all night long about Neverwinter, and then crash out and get up in the morning and do it all over again. Of course, days off are kind of days off, and I don't really log in that much. But those are good days, because they're days where you get to do dailies, and you're seeing everybody who comes around. So I think my big highlight has been nights when everyone's been around. When everyone's offline, I'm kind of like, oh, I'll take an early evening and go play Grand Theft Auto or something.
Yeah,
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yep, still haven't played all the way through that, but my interest is rekindled. So,
well, sometimes it's good to take a break, because you can't get burnt out really quick.
It's just the story in Grand Theft Auto 5 is so long. I mean, I
beat it in 3 days.
Yeah, that's again, you have way more free time. We were talking about this.
Well, then again, that's the same as that person that got to level 60 in like 2 days.
Yeah, you have all this time for gaming, man. When snow snarls in, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I find with if you're on something with a long campaign, instead of thinking about the end, think about the trip. And I find that when I was leveling, even when I was in World of Warcraft, I didn't think of, I need to get to 60 or 70, 85, 80 or whatever number they're up to now. I just thought of enjoying the trip through the different zones and just enjoying myself. It's like if you're going on a trip and if you're looking at the clock, the trip goes so much slower. But if you enjoy the trip, that's a cool sight, or that's a cool sight, or this is a good song on the radio, or we're having a good conversation. Next thing you know, you're there. You wouldn't even know where the time went.
Yeah, I think the problem is in Grand Theft Auto 5, you reach a point where the missions become pretty much the same. Steal this car, drive here, kill these guys, which is what Grand Theft Auto 5 really does best. Aside from giving you like a big toy box to play in with anything you would want to do, go jack a helicopter and parachute out over some big thing. Just do whatever you do.
You ever done this cheat for Skyfall where it puts you up on the side with no parachute? The only option that you have is to try to fly into a pool or freaking smack down on the ground. Man, I have GTA 5, okay? Since I got my desktop, okay, I mentioned that. We have now moved my Xbox out to the living room. I no longer play that anymore, like, ever. The only time I'm ever really going to play it is if it is, like, late at night. I mean, the first time I was on Xbox Live, well, not the first time, but the word has slipped my mind. Well, anyway, I got on Xbox Live today, and I haven't gotten on Xbox Live in forever, so I hit the X button in the middle of the controller, and I look at my messages, and I have like 500 messages from all my friends saying, "Where have you been? Are you dead? Where have you been?" And I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I haven't been on it in 2 years. And I'm like, well, I've joined the PC realm. I'm proud to say that. Consoles are nothing.
PC Master Race.
I mean, okay, I can buy an Xbox One, watch TV on it. Or I can buy a PS4 and pay for crap. Well, same for both.
Yeah, but when you have a PC, you just have everything in one, and the trade-off is that you put a lot more into trying to keep everything the way you like it, and you managing all your you manage everything about that. There's no the operating system does it for you.
For Xbox One and PS4, it's like, here, pay for internet. But when you have a PC, it's like internet's free because it has to. Well, it's not free. I mean,
you don't pay for online play on a PlayStation.
Yeah, you do. You do now.
Do you really on a PS4?
PlayStation Store and online now costs money, same as price as Xbox One.
Okay.
A lot of people were like, "Why'd you do this, PS4?" And PS4 was like, "We made the console cheaper." I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
Well, you know what it is too is Sony was just recently breached, so somebody has to pay for the new equipment they had to buy. So guess who's paying for it?
Yeah, you're talking about that breach in 2012.
Yeah, where all the usernames and passwords and everything else.
Credit card information.
Yeah.
Yeah, SOE was in a lot of heat for that. It does stand to reason they would now have to figure out a way to keep that from happening anymore.
And probably the money that you have to pay now for online is going to like super firewall systems or something like no hacker will ever be able to get into. It's a conspiracy theory.
They can get in. Yeah. It's the people that break into these systems, they go where the data is. Whatever they can monetize. I mean, if they have your information, if they could sell it, you know what? They're going to try to get that information.
Like, whatever gives them money, they'll try to do.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just the sad part of some people. I mean, it's like, they'll do anything for money. And if it involves, getting in super trouble, they don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Did they ever catch the people that did it?
I don't think they did, no.
Ooh, man. That means they're still at large, probably still stealing some old lady's credit card or something.
Yeah. But
there's always people who are going to do that, though.
Yeah. It's just a matter of time till they do, I mean, you can only be on top of your game for so much. All you have to do is slip once, You know?
Yeah, the theory goes that you can't really stop that from happening. You can make the barrier, the cost of doing so, really high, and you can make it more difficult. But at the end of the day, if someone really, really, really wants to do it and take your information and use it, they can do it eventually. The real thing is just when something like that does happen, if you are alerted soon enough, not like what happened with SOE in 2012. If you're alerted soon enough, you can take steps to prevent that and fix it before it turns into full blown. All the loss of pretty much everything in your life, your entire well being there.
And the crazy thing is, some people blame video games for all that crap.
What you mean, like immorality, like hacking and stealing?
They blame video games for
Or are you talking about blaming video games for violence?
For violence and just everything. So I know a person that's like anti-video games to the mats. Like they've never touched one in their life and they're never gonna touch one. And they're just like, video games is what made the world corrupt. And I've talked to this person. I'm like, that's not true. I mean, prove it. And they're
it's correlation versus causality. When you have correlation, you have two things that happen at the same time. This person over here shot some people, and he loves World of Warcraft. That's correlation. Causality is saying he shot those people because he learned that violence was okay in World of Warcraft. It's not a large leap for a low branch of intelligence. It's correlation and causality, very close. Not a whole lot of brain power needed to just make that connection and go, okay, we'll blame that. Also, it's just scapegoating. When you come to lobbyists or people who are they're trying to convince other people that they're doing something and taking steps to fix a particular problem. They've got to create a scapegoat to take the blame for whatever problem was, and they've got to then take some action to show that they are against certain thing. It's all about that's what politics is, really.
Yeah.
It's just about appearing like you're doing something.
Yeah, exactly.
Now
so they can say, at least we did this. It might not have been successful, but we did this to try to calm this right here.
Now, I've had an experience with that, actually. My neighbor, his name was Chris. He lived right across the street from me. Their house was okay. I mean, but his parents, well, I'm pretty sure both of them, I'm pretty sure they did drugs. Because I used to go over to their house all the time and, play games on his PlayStation 2 at the time when mine was broke, because I'm broke because my sister, I won't even get into that whole story. That's for another time. But anyway, I'd always go over there and play on his PlayStation 2. And me and him always used to play all these cool games, like these shooting games, okay? Because his parents were like, yeah, he can play whatever he wants.
FPSs.
Well, his dad was like that. Yeah. And then one day his dad brings home GTA San Andreas. And I'm like, holy crap. I've heard so much about this game.
It's a good game. Still is.
Let's play it. Okay, so we put it in, and his mom's freaking out. You, Chris, you don't need to be playing that. And,
coffee time.
And I was like, okay. I mean, you didn't tell me not to play it. So he was out in the living room while I'm playing his PlayStation 2, while I'm playing San Andreas, and I'm like, man, this is kind of messed up that I'm doing this. So I get up, I walk in, and I talk to him. I'm like, how bad do you want to play San Andreas? And he's like, really bad. So I'm like, well, how about we ask your mom to take the PlayStation over to my house and hook it up to my TV, but say that we're not going to breed San Andreas, but keep the game inside the PlayStation. And well, there's a bad ending to this. So we do that, and we play that. We play that a bunch. We play it till like he always spent the night over here, and I always spent the night over there. We stayed up till 12 o'clock playing San Andreas.
And how old were you at the time?
I was 11. and he was 11. He was 9, and we were playing San Andreas.
Old enough to know better at this point, but young enough that
yeah, I knew better.
You're still
at least.
pushing the boundaries.
He had a little bit of problems. He had a speech problem, and he had a little bit of, He had mild, like very very mild.
So back
mental
to
issues.
You played it until 12 with your friend.
Yeah, we played it until 12, and he spends the night. Next day, well, during the game, it was actually a thing that I was doing. What happened was, it was the part where you had to go into the burger shop after getting your hair cut and everything, and
it's very early on.
Kill it, and kill the guy and everything. Well, that's
no,
what
you
I did,
had to kill that guy on that mission.
Yeah, but I killed him because I was like, kill him. So I did. I killed everybody in the burger shop. I killed all the cops and everything. So I'm driving away, and he's like, "Man, that's really cool." Then I hear him whisper under his breath, I wish I could do that one day. And I'm like, oh.
Wow.
Then after that, it hit 12 exactly. So, well, not 12 exactly. It was 12:05. I don't remember the time. It was a long time.
That's dark. You think that in real life or just in the game?
No, he meant in real life, I'm pretty sure. Because he said it in a deep, I wish I could do that in real life.
Wow.
Like that. And I was like, whoa. So we put it up. We go to bed. And next day, he goes back over to his house, and it was just, about 12 o'clock, not at night, but in the afternoon, they left, and then they came back with there was a cop car following them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? And it turns out they went to a store, and there was video games on the shelf. And apparently Chris stole a video game, and the alarm went off. And, cops came and everything.
Oh, wow.
His mom was telling me all this story and everything. And I'm like, why would he do that? And then...
and she's looking at you and she says that, right?
Oh, gosh.
Why would he do that? I don't know.
No, I asked her why would he do that. And then I'm in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, he didn't, did he? He didn't kill anyone, did he? And I asked her, did anybody get hurt in this process? And she's like, no, he would never do anything like that. I'm like, are you sure?
That when you're 11.
I mean, are you sure he didn't kill anybody?
Oh, man, that's pretty great.
And after that, I go back over to my house. My parents were like, what happened over there? Why do you have to go over there? And I was like, he needs his PlayStation 2, but take the game out of it. This is what his mom told me to tell his parents. Take the game out of it and burn it. And then I walked back over there and took the PlayStation back. And he's like, where's the game? And I'm like, it's gone. My dog ate it.
So his mom ordered you to tell your parents to burn the game.
Yes. Well, not burn it, just throw it away.
After playing it for 30 minutes. Well, I mean, that's correlation, That's a good example, Played Grand Theft Auto when he wasn't supposed to, and then went out and did something else he wasn't supposed to. That's correlation. Causalities, if you say,
and then I asked him why he did it.
He saw immorality kind of justified and glorified on Grand Theft Auto.
And I asked him why he did that, and after a few days, I go back over to his house, everything's cool, and I asked him, why did you do that, Chris? I mean, that was a really bad thing. And he got all teary-eyed.
You better hope
oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, oh, let's hope that he doesn't. And I'm like, well, dude, why'd you do that? Don't get all sad. And he's like, well, I really wanted to play GTA 5. I mean, not 5. I mean, GTA San Andreas.
Yeah.
When you were playing it, and since I didn't get to play it only for about a little bit, when he got to play it at the same time as I did, he was just like, I only got to play it for a little bit, and he was like, I wanted to do it in real life because I thought it would be fun. And I'm like, dude, you can't do that. It's a game. And he's like, I know. So he learned after that, and then they moved away, and I have no idea where they live now.
Well, you're probably better off because when this guy goes nuts because he doesn't seem to have any innate morality. If he sees it in the game, the kid was only 9 years old, but I mean, you don't want your house to be the first one he visits when he goes on a tear.
I hope not.
I'm just surprised that I imagine his parents know that he's really not there. I mean, your parents know. Your parents know,
Yeah.
and that she would, or he, or his parents, or whoever is his guardian, would allow him to use a game like that, especially at 9 years old. That is a lot of heavy content that a 9-year-old, 10-year-old, even 11, 12-year-old, they really can't conceive that. That's what you're doing. It's actually wrong. I mean, it's right for the game because it's in context, but in real life, that's something that A, it's wrong, and B, could get you killed.
Yeah.
Well,
And another worst
his
thing
parents
was
didn't want him to play it, but he still found a way to do it.
it was
And I
my
think
fault.
most kids
I
are going to
blame
do
myself basically.
How did he end up with the game, though? The thing is, how do you end up in possession of that game in order to be able to play it?
His dad gave it to him. His dad brought it home because his buddy let him borrow it, and his dad called his buddy and was like, "Hey, do you want to like this game back? Because my kid really likes it." And he's like, "No, you can keep it. I mean, I can just always get another one." Well, at least that's how I imagined it, because it ended like him hanging up and was like, "Well, it's our game now." And I was like, "Oh, cool." And his dad was always cool. I mean, after the day, it was like 2 years after this incident happened, and like they were still living there. They didn't move away for like a while after that happened.
Right,
but,
it was like immediate.
They were
like,
still
we
living
have
there.
to leave.
And 2 years have passed, so he's now 11, and I'm
13. According to the math. JDog? Did we lose JDog? Uh-oh.
I think we did. I know he was cutting out. I don't know if that's me or him, but he was cutting out.
I didn't think it
hold
was
up
him.
for a second.
Okay.
Someone has opened my door.
You're still here. Okay. Well, okay. So you raise a good point, Phobet, that if your parents really want to keep that kind of thing out of his hands, and they make it completely unavailable to reach. The problem is, I think, you reach a point where there's kind of cost benefit analysis, and it's like, all right, how much is it gonna, like, how much effort and time and resources are you gonna spend trying to find a place where you can still get to this game so you can play it, but also keep it out of the hands of your kids. I mean, I think at one point in their lives, we do our best to keep our kids from seeing anything that they shouldn't. But I think at one point or another in their lives, they're probably going to break through whatever barriers we try to set for them. That's just how we seem to be as people. When we're younger, we're trying to push the limits to see how much we can get away with. How much is allowed, and how much tolerance you can get. I think that when it comes down to a teenage person or a young child, like a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old, you're still finding those boundaries and what is acceptable, and you're trying to find an outlet for all these things that's going on inside your head. I think when we as parents come across this situation where our kids, they aren't allowed to do something that we can, it's kind of like a double standard we present to them. I think the only thing we can do to keep from being hypocrites in their eyes and from doing a disservice to them is to talk about it with them at first. It doesn't have to be any kind of high pressure, high drama talk where it's like, son, I've got to sit you down and talk to you about this thing, and games are violent and that's not okay. I think more along the lines of it's better to be together for a little bit. So I think if I'm the dad in that situation, and I have games my sons are not allowed to play, because I have two, a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. When they get older, I'm gonna have to deal with this. So I think when I'm in that situation, what I've got to do for them is I've got to let them be with me, and watch, and kind of, watch me play for a while so they can kind of understand how I act about the game, how I view it, because the example I set for them in playing the game, just me, is gonna set the tone for what they think about what gaming is for. If they think gaming is like your reward for just not tearing things up and being a jerk, they'll probably think they deserve a whole bunch of games and stuff and tear things up and destroy things if they don't get it. But if they think that gaming is a hobby, a relaxation technique that you can participate with friends or you can do alone or what have you, as long as they understand the context for gaming in the first place, I think when you come across questionable content, you can just kind of discuss it casually, being like, wow, he killed that guy. And just got to find some way to talk about that with them and not, of course, it's so easy to talk about this now when it's not facing me in the face, but,
right.
But I think in that situation, I'm going to have to just be with them, like provide enough context with my behavior and my actions so that when something that seems contradictory comes up, they'll understand the difference between the attitudes you take towards fictional people in games and the attitudes you take towards real people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's my soapbox. I soapbox a lot on this show.
I mean, when in doubt, pinky out.
Pinky out. Waters for Cletus.
Should I continue on with my my interesting, not really interesting story?
You were saying that not too it was not too much longer after that. 2 years later.
Yeah, it changed my view on the guy's dad. It changed my view on Chris's dad.
How so?
Well, I go over there. I'm like, Mom, can I go over there? And she's like, I don't know anymore about that those
that
guys.
guy.
I'm like, well, not
those
about that guy, about those people. And I'm like, Mom, come on. I mean, he's changed. Trust me. And well, I go over there. And their family, well, they're cousins apparently, or they're like friends. They're like long relationship friends. Come over, and I'm like, oh, they're pretty cool. I mean, she's nice, and well, I'm outside on a bike, and Chris's dad walks out with it looked like $100 bill and like it looked like a wad of cash. Okay.
Uh-huh.
They both walk out to her car, and she pulls out this huge bottle of pills, like huge, okay. And then he hands her the money. I'm like, whoa. So after that incident, he they do it really quick. He like hides the pills, and I'm like, what the heck is that stuff? And I try to look. I didn't see. I was like, man, this is some messed up crap right here. So then I walk back over, and I'm like, I'm never going over there again. I'm never going over there again. And then guess what happens like 2 months later?
What?
While they're on vacation, their friends break into their house and take all the credit cards and then move.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, what a messed up bunch of people that I live across the street from.
So it looks like Phobet called it, like there's a bit of negligence on the parents.
Yeah. And now my new neighbor is a football buddy. My new across the street neighbor is a football buddy that goes to school and I play football with, so it's like, hey, that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Keep an eye out. Don't play Grand Theft Auto with that guy. Might turn out the same way.
When in doubt, I shot out. I don't know.
Right. Well, that sounds very questionable. And I know we haven't even gotten really State of the Gamer news, but other than talking about the Cold Worms lag and maintenance to fix it, there's really nothing that we've gotten to play that we can talk about. So mostly it's just become the Tell Stories and Soapbox show. But in the State of the Game this week, of course, everyone's pretty much. I mean, we do generally. I know that our guild did the same things this week as we did last week. So, I mean, we log in when we feel like playing, and we go and do dailies together, and do dungeons if we can, and we just talk. And at the end of the night, it's time to go to bed, and we do what we sign off for that. It's kind of we're hitting that slow time. Of course, Cold Worm starting up. It's gonna get us through the weekend and give us something to do. But after that, it's right back. So we're gonna take up kind of a progression thing in the guild in Knights at the Cayley. We're gonna be doing like a weekly run for progression in epics. Try and get better. Try and get serious about getting stuff cleared. Just one night a week, and let the rest of the nights each week be kind of like just casual hanging out.
Yeah,
you got to have both free play and constructed play. Mm-hmm. I think
climbing up the guild ladders.
Guild ladders of progression, you mean?
Well, like rising through the ranks. I mean,
I'm confused.
You know what I mean? Like.
Oh, you mean like down more bosses, clear more content, see more things, get more...
like get better in general. I mean, I'm not saying we're a bad guild. We're probably like the best guild I've ever been in. Well, period, the best guild I've ever been in. I've only been in one other one. No one was on, and we never did anything. The only thing I did was raid from their guild bank. But I should only take one item out a day, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, what should I get? Such a choose. But like... it was just... This guild is amazing. I mean, I'm glad to be a part of it. And I feel so accomplished of what me and Peter have done. And you, Phobet. No one can forget about our Phobet. I mean, come on.
Our Phobet. That's an interesting way to put that.
Oh, I feel like a mascot now.
Yeah, he's kind of...
it is kind of a mascot name.
Like you're a little animal. So we probably should have expected this problem in this patch. This does seem to be tending to happen on our occasional events here. I remember this happened for Winter Festival. Not only that last week for the Zenith, but if I remember, it happened before that. Maybe for a different thing, but it seems more and more common that we're having these maintenance, taking the shard down for maintenance in the evening to fix something. When they started something in the middle of the day and it winds up evening time before the shard gets taken down, I get that they don't want to enter at peak hours of play, even if they can't get into the Call to Arms. But it just kind of begged the question that why are these events only for the weekend? And I think, Phobet, you mentioned this before the show, but why on earth aren't these things tested? Why is preview shard not sufficient? Do we need to get more people in there? Is it something on behalf of cryptic devs that is just not getting done?
Maybe not enough feedback about the information that the people are given, or
I mean that's what I'm thinking, because the game is visually appealing. I mean, I love the graphics in it. I mean, I played a lot of different video games. I mean, I'm a gamer. I should probably get it tattooed, on my head or something. It's very visually engaging, but there's not a whole lot of content. Oh, it looks excellent, but there's not a whole lot of content there. So I think I think that they're having a problem building out their content and setting up their schedules, because it just seems kind of weird that they'll do a maintenance at 3:00 in the afternoon, and it's like, no, if you really want to incentivize people to play, then you should do maintenance when people aren't on, or when there's a lower chance of impacting your users. Do it on a set schedule. Don't do it 3 times a week. Set one time a week where the shard or whatever, or one time a month where it goes down for maybe 6 hours so that you can back up the servers, defrag, or what do you have to do, or just restart it if they're running on a Windows box. To take care of stuff like that. So it just seems to me, I mean, I have an IT background, so that's, I kind of know what goes on in the background. It just seems to me that they're still trying to get their processes together in order to keep this thing online. I think that it was launched ahead of schedule. If I'm not mistaken, it came out maybe a little before Christmas. If I'm not mistaken, or the holiday, or whatever you want to call it. I call it Christmas. Christmas for me, it's Kwanzaa for some people. It's the winter solstice for some people. Whatever you celebrate, I think that's when it came out. It just seems like it was rushed, because I see a lot of things, a lot of weirdness goes on, a lot of glitching going on. I mean, I was in.
Are you talking about Shadow Mantle content? Came out on the 5th of December. That seems rushed. I mean, because I know you made the comment before about the entire game seems like it's still in beta. And that is a trend we're seeing continually. Like, more and more games are, they're on, on Steam with buy-in on the alpha, and it's just like, it seems like the model lately is putting less effort in before you make it public, which is sort of treating people like paid beta players.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but be upfront with it. And for in the beta test, don't make us pay for stuff. That's kind of insulting. That it's a free to play, yes, but there are a lot of things that you have to actually shell out cash for. And for me, it's a real disconnect when I go to queue for a dungeon, and 9 times out of 10, when I queue for a dungeon, there's 3 people, and when I get pulled from whatever I'm doing, when I'm doing some quests or I'm doing some dailies or whatever, don't pull me until everyone's ready. Don't pull me into a half group, because it gets annoying after a while. It really does.
Yeah, you really shouldn't be forced to teleport in if one person or 2 people declined the invite. When that party invite pops up and people start checking yes or no, if there's even one X no, that means that you shouldn't get teleported.
I mean, this is what I'm
keep
thinking
doing what
they
you're doing
should do.
until things are ready.
They should make a roster, okay, like a joining roster, like they do for like Call of Duty, or not like Call of Duty, where you can pick what dungeon you would want to join and see how many people, see who the people are, see their stats and everything. That would be a lot more helpful, but it may take a lot more time to be able to do that. But at least it would fix the problem in queuing for dungeons that have already been cleared until the boss and everything. And
I think if you set it up like that, though, then you create a social elitism where, if I can check what your stats are and, I want to get this dungeon done, if you're coming in with a low gear score, it's going to be like, no, we don't want him. You know what I mean? So the people that start off at the bottom, they're going to have a hard time, because there's a certain level that people are going to want to have in their group. You know what I'm saying? So that could be disheartening when you just turned 60 and you have all blues, you have no epic gear on, and it's hard to get into an epic dungeon because people can check your stats and say, no, we don't want him. Well, it's going to be that much harder, and you're going to create a lot of this elitism where a lot of the content will be shut off from normal people.
Well, true, but
you just wish it was a little more transparent.
Yeah, just make it to where
see a little more about what you're coming into.
Yeah, just
just an option, just an option to teleport back out and go back to what you're doing would be, I think, would solve Phobet's main problem here. Because the main thing, if I understand it, is with Phobet's complaint here is that you have to stop what you're doing to get into the dungeon, and it may not even be ready to go. You may still be waiting on a tank and a heal. Yeah,
exactly. I know, and I'm going by my experience with World of Warcraft, where the graphics weren't great, but they had this thing down to a science. Their downtime was very minimal, and it was always scheduled. It was on a Tuesday. They would do it every month or 2 weeks or whatever. It's a scheduled downtime. You're aware of it, so you can plan your raids. You can plan whatever it is around this downtime. And it wasn't like every 3 days or 2 days or whatever. It's going down for this or it's going down for that. And it was never during prime time. Never during prime time. Like I've seen I've seen it go down the Neverwinter Saturday going into a Sunday. It's like, are you kidding me? This is my time off. And you're going down. It's like, what incentivizes me to come back when you're going to go down for maintenance when I have free time to play? It's like, you know what? I'm going to find something else that's on right now, and I might not come back to you because I like this one better now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, since the game has came out, it has lost. It has gained. I'm pretty sure more people than it's lost. I don't know the numbers, but I mean, it just seems like the game's getting better and it's getting worse at the same time. I mean,
different things are getting worked on.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started to play, I was like, man, this game's pretty cool. I mean, you can do all this stuff, because I played it when it was, in beta. And, like Phobet says, it still kind of is. I mean, they really haven't fixed every nook and cranny.
No.
But, hopefully they eventually will, and it won't be as glitchy as it is now. I mean, a lot of people probably do have a lot of problems with, for example, okay, Gauntlegrim. I mean, you're in a Gauntlegrim, you do the Gauntlegrim, then you get into the dungeon part. It takes so long to queue for that dungeon for Dawnful Grim. I mean, it's insane how long the queue takes. I mean, me and another guildie were in a party. We were in queue for the dungeon, and it took forever. We ended up having to leave the group that we had going and just queue by ourselves, and we eventually got in. He didn't even get in, but I did. I mean, it was just so messed up. I mean, it was just... I felt bad for him. But at the same time, it's like, why would it even be this hard to be able to get into this dungeon?
Right, exactly. It's like they need to shore up their algorithm that actually does the matching. Where if everyone has a proper gear score, well, if you don't have proper gear score, you probably won't be able to queue for it. But if there's a group of 3 people, right, and they're all DPS, then all thing we need is a healer and a tank. Okay, let's find a tank, let's find a healer, and let's put them in. Let's get this group on the way, because they're already halfway there. They've already got a group of people that are just waiting on 2 people. It just seems like it's very random. It's very random, and they don't. And whatever algorithm they use isn't looking at all the different people and all the different classes that are queuing for these things.
Yeah. And another thing is, I mean, when you pug a group, I mean, you never know what you're walking into. I mean, I've had amazing pugs before, but recently, when I've tried to do things alone, not alone, I mean, with a pug group, I mean, it's like, we can't get through this because I know that I'm not that bad, because with a 60,000 gear score, you can do a lot. And I normally lead the dungeons in DPS and tanking, but just some of the people are so far behind that it's like, how are you even in this with me? I mean, I just wish, I'm not trying to be mean, I just wish they had a system to where it would match you with people of the same skill.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not something that can really be quantified, because you could have someone that has 16,000 gear score, but they might have bought their character.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of this, and there's a lot. I mean, I used to see it on WoW all the time, where they have all this raid stuff from all the top tier raids, but you group with them, and they're morons. They're complete morons. Yeah,
they don't know how to do anything.
Exactly. It's like, I see. I can tell you bought your character because you have all these things, and you're using your capabilities in the wrong way. You're not leveraging the subtleties of your abilities. You're just, let me push this button because this will throw some damage out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you don't understand the actual why of DPSing or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And in some of these epics, you need a healer no matter what. And because normally when you pug, you normally get a great weapon fighter, and either a Tritz-Road or a hunter, a cleric, and sometimes a control wizard. But it's just, when you have people that do things that, I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. I mean, you can play whatever you want, but I just prefer to be in a group with a healer that heals. And because I've been in a pug group to where a healer does DPS, and you can't. I'm not saying you can't do that. You can do it, obviously, but when you can do it, at least try to do it right.
Yeah,
I've been
in groups that we kick the healer because they're not a healer. It's like, you came in as a healer, but I've already, we've only done 3 groups, so we're not even at the boss yet, and I popped 5 pots. I mean, if I have to, it's very rare that I have to pop a pot. If you have a good healer, you'll never have to pop a pot because they're on top of it. A lot of times, lately what I've seen is like, I'll go into an instance and do a pug or whatever, and I've used 20 pots during the whole thing because the healer just sucks. They're not healing, they're DPSing. It's like, you need to do reverse DPS on the group and let the group worry about taking down whoever we need to take down.
Yeah. And another thing is, I mean, me and Peter have been in a group where the healer was just like, are we rolling on this loot, or are we greeting on this loot, or needing, or whatever? And this healer was just based on,
It was a
getting
DPS
gear.
cleric. And the only thing he would say
cleric.
was, greet on epics, right? And we're like,
kick.
Yeah, so because it's like, first of all, the game isn't vetting like healer role. Like, it doesn't have a selection like in WoW, where you have to pick your role and you only have certain roles available for your certain class. And there's a couple places where it can be misused, where people can cheat the system. Q is something there's not to get a fast one, but I mean, ultimately
they usually end up getting kicked though.
Yeah, the virtues of that system make it so that it's painfully obvious when people do that, and and the rest of the pug didn't have to put up with it. But the problem here is that it just looks for the class. It looks for a guardian fighter, it looks for a cleric, and then it looks for whatever other classes it can get, and put y'all in a group. And there's no telling if the guardian fighter knows what they're doing, or if the cleric is even a healing cleric. There's no accounting for it. You just seem to get whatever's available at the time.
Oh yeah,
I mean obviously guilds can't. Guilds are a great thing against this, because you know everyone there, and you put together the group, and you know who's what, and obviously you've accounted for it. If you have a DPS cleric, you have another backup, another backup person to help on the heals or what have you.
Yeah,
nothing like that goes on in pugs. The reason that it's such a big issue, I think, is that ultimately we're all going to have to pug once or twice. Something we're gonna have to try and get something done with random people, just because there's nights when people take off. They're just not around. If you're not running a hardcore guild, going all right, everyone has to be on this night, and if not, you lose your spot in the guild, and we're gonna kick you to the curb. And if you're not running that kind of thing, then you wind up in a situation where you have to eventually, for one reason or another, queue in and do a random. So if we simply had a couple better tools added to dungeon queues, it'd probably be like a role selector, or like like a role placement, so that we could select, whether, if I'm playing on a cleric and I want a DPS, click the DPS and it'll put me to DPS. I might have to wait longer, but at least I won't be put where I'm not expected to do something that I don't want to do. Right. Or if I'm, a tank, I want to be noted that I'm a tank, and I want a group that needs a tank. So, I'll click the little thing that says I'm a tank, put me in a group that needs a tank. That would help. And then the ability to not be placed in a group that's not ready to go with everyone, or give us the ability to teleport back out to where we were before. Because short of going to the entrance of the dungeon, there's no way to do that.
Yeah.
Obviously, teleports are something they're trying to make you pay for, but it's just going a little too far with this. This is too much to ask players to pay for.
Yeah.
Players should have to pay for convenience or cosmetics, not for things that are considered standard, like respecs or fast travel. The ability to get from one place to another is something you shouldn't have to pay for. And who knows? There might be some game that comes out that's perfect next year that we all wind up playing instead of something else. But this is the game that seems to be drawing us in for one reason or another to come back to eventually. Time after time. So there's something about this that it's not that we get down on the game because there's necessarily we just hate the game. Matter of fact, I think it's usually the opposite. The people who complain about the game are people who love everything else,
and they just want everything to be fixed.
This one thing just it makes it so that you're like, this one thing just is terrible. If it were fixed, to this person, it's the perfect game. And I know plenty of people who are like that, and I'm personally like that. I love Neverwinter for everything that it does give, and it's kind of sad what the things it does not do.
Yeah. I think a lot of it too is that we people that know Neverwinter played Neverwinter Nights, not the online but the PC games. Mm-hmm. They're very familiar with that world and they want to play in that world. I know when I heard about Neverwinter, I wanted to play because I played the games, the Neverwinter games, and I think what it is with them coming in. They're not coming into an audience that doesn't know any better because people have played other MMOs, World of Warcraft or Conan the Barbarian or some of the other
tons of free games
or original
exactly.
D&D
or paid games. So they come in with a certain sophistication that they know they know what they want and they know what works. So if this was a new MMO, right, brand new, there's never been an MMO, they're the first ones out of the gate, then we would not have something to compare it to, and we would readily accept all the weirdness that goes on,
But we know it can be better, so we want it to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get what you're getting at.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, coming into these games, we bring with us I guess you could say, a sophistication. We have seen better. We know what is possible, and when we see Neverwinter, it's like for me, it's like I'm in a giant beta test. Just the weirdness that I notice that goes on. I'm sorry.
Oh, just had a thought while you were. I was going to wait for you to finish, though.
No, that's that. No, that's it. I think my train is pretty much at the station right now.
Right, it's an Amtrak. It's gone off. It's done.
It's gone off the rails.
Yeah. I was thinking when you were talking about sorry, now my train of thought's an Amtrak. When you're talking about having something to compare it to, and seeing how much better it could be, I think it comes down to with about it being in a big beta test. I think if it were a big beta test, and it's simply Cryptic saying, we got so many people trying this out. We know this can be better, so we're putting this like Blizzard actually is a good model of this with Hearthstone, a huge open beta test. Or a huge closed beta test before the open beta started, just to make sure before anyone, who is not completely invested in it picks it up and it becomes available for play all over.
Yeah, I mean, it's
they even still have stuff like that where you can play on or like you can play on a test server where there's no
they
guarantee.
Always have that.
And it's great because, you could beta test stuff and, I know a lot of guilds that do that to get familiar with some of the content where before they go to the live game,
Right, yeah, it's the preparing thing that goes into that.
And it reminds me a lot of what the Elder Scrolls Online is doing, because people have seen Skyrim, they've seen Oblivion, they've seen all the Elder Scrolls before, but they're bringing it all into one to where a whole bunch of people can play together and do a whole bunch of stuff. It's just, it's cool. I mean, with the beta tests that they've been doing, the closed beta, I mean, I've gotten lucky enough to get in two actually, and play around and see how it's going to be, and they're going to have a lot of fans that are going to be playing that are in love with the Elder Scrolls.
And the people and the people that play these MMOs, they're very familiar with the lore. They're very familiar with the location. So they're going to need to set a standard where not only does it have to be visually pleasing, it has to be correct as far as the game world is concerned. Because people will point that out. It's like, wait a minute, that's not in Elder Scrolls, or that lore is incorrect. I mean, I know people that they know the lore, and that's not correct. Why are they here?
Well, to make one final point here, I think the really big thing is that if Cryptic were to come out today and say, all right, this has all been, a great big test. Now that we've learned everything about from this, we're going to come out in 3 months, or of course they're not going to put out a schedule like that. No one ever does. But they'll say, all right, this is a closed beta, so we're, or open beta or what have you, and then they'll say like, all right, here it's on such date we have full and complete release of the game, and there is or just like version 2 or something where they just they relaunch it almost, and they take the time to vet all the bugs out and fix everything up to make it not feel like a beta. I think most of us would be all right with that. Just the ability to have the game feel like it's full, up and running, and not just kind of still testing.
And a thing that I would really like to see fixed, and like the next shard maintenance or the next update, is the horses and capes And when you're a Guardian Fighter or a GWF or anything that has your weapon on your back, is the cape not going through the weapon or the shield, because that completely aggravates me. It doesn't even want me to... I think capes look really cool. I think the capes look amazing. But when they're going through your shield and your sword, it's like, I don't want to wear this because it looks stupid. And when you're on a horse, or like, say, my giant boar, it just goes right through the back of the boar, and I'm like, why? It makes me not want to wear a cape. And when capes are really cool, and I've liked that they've done capes, because I'm a big fan of capes. I mean, in all my games, I normally, if there's a mod for a cape, like I did for Skyrim, I got it. I mean, capes are just cool. I mean, as long as you're not flying like Superman with a cape in front of a jet, or in front of a giant airplane.
The Incredibles.
The Incredibles. Exactly my point. I mean, capes are cool. I mean, but with the glitch that they have with the capes, I mean, it's aggravating.
Yeah, I get that it bothers you. Like
they can be a lot better than this. They can be a lot better than this. I've seen a lot better than this.
It takes away from the gameplay. There's a loss of immersion when you see these graphic glitches. And it takes away from your total immersion of, like, I am this fighter, or I am this and I am actually doing this. But my dog just went through the wall. It's like, really?
I just fell through the map because I went into this hole that fell to the bottom of the map.
Yeah, falling through the map is weird.
It is weird. I fell through the map before where I just kept falling and falling and falling, and then I eventually died. And I was like, why, Cryptic? What?
Stand by a campfire and get your injuries healed.
Oh, now I have to buy more injury kits for these stupid glitches that are happening when I'm already poor.
I think that's pretty much our time for this week. Actually, we didn't really get any news. There probably wasn't a whole lot
fun stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're basically just having conversation. I think it's okay to have an episode every once in a while. It's just us discussing whatever's pertinent, whatever's going on, because there's going to be busy news weeks and there's going to be slow news weeks, and the slow news weeks are when we can kind of be a little more flexible about what we talk about. So, but before we go today, obviously we don't have a featured foundry for you this week. The only foundry that any of us have played, I played Ravenloft again on my new character, my new Guardian Fighter. I enjoyed it overall. I thought there were some problems with it, I guess, but I feel like we've already covered it, so I don't want to go back into it. If you want like a full review, I can do like a video for you. But obviously no foundry, and we kind of breeze through the lack of news here. Before we go, is there anything else about whatever we've talked about today that you guys wanted to include?
Well, I only have to say this: if there's anybody from Cryptic watching this, I highly doubt that there is. But if there is a slightly chance, just listen to this. If you make a game that people like, but you have funky glitches, that will make people not want to play it anymore. But if you fix those glitches, it'll bring back that person and maybe even more. So I'm just trying to say is, if you fix these problems, a lot more people are going to end up playing, and you'll probably end up getting a lot more money if that's what you're looking for. But I doubt that, since the game is so fun. But just fix the glitches, and it'll be cool.
It sounds petty, but it does feed into your enjoyment of the game, and it does help determine how much time you'll spend with it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, exactly. I mean, I know. For me, I like to spend a lot of time in the game, but once I've done my dailies, I don't want to go into the dungeon queue, because 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be plugged into a group that's not full. I can deal with a failed group, because every once in a while, sometimes you just get a group, and you get people that just don't know how to play as a team, or they're just morons, and it's like, okay, we're going to re-queue for this. That I can deal with, because you can never mitigate the human factor, and you can never mitigate human stupidity.
Right.
Yeah, but when it wastes your dungeon delves, it's another problem.
Yeah, that is a problem.
Yeah, that is a problem. But like I said, you can't mitigate human stupidity. You can't, or should I say, you can't mitigate human fallacy. But
nobody's perfect.
You can't. You're right. Yeah, exactly. No one's perfect, but you can mitigate hugging someone into a group that's not fully fleshed out.
Right.
Where you have three DPS, or you have a heal and a DPS waiting for other people, and they can't go anywhere because they can't get back to the instance. It's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one more pet peeve on that is I hate when you go in when you actually do get a group and you're able to do the dungeon. Everything's great. Everything's fine and dandy. You got your tier 1, tier 2, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you leave the instance and you're not where you started. You are in.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, now I have to run back to there to get to the transport point to go back to where I was before.
Oh my gosh! I'm in
that,
Tower District when I was in Helmshold.
I think Phobet's referring to being in the 3 divisions of Sharendar.
Well, no, it's actually anywhere that you are. Mm-hmm. It just seems like the way they set up the way they set up the instances is when you're leveling out, and they want to put you in the area where it continues the story. It's like, well, if I'm doing an epic, I don't want to continue the story because I've already done the story. So if I'm doing, the crypts, I forget something crypts with the pirate guy at the end, right? Yeah. I don't want to go to Black Dagger because I've already done that. I want to go back to where I was. And
I get what you're saying.
Know what I'm saying?
You leave with the actual dungeon exit, and it puts you at the start of the Black Dagger Ruins zone, but it doesn't put you don't get back to where you were before you got into the the dungeon.
When we did the epic.
I get what you. I know what you're talking about there.
That is so annoying, and that is such a fail. I mean, if someone is leveling their character and they run into a dungeon, and they're doing a dungeon, they queue for it. Okay, yeah. Maybe if they're ready, you can send them to the next area that they need to be to continue their progression, their leveling progression. But if I'm doing an epic, I've already done that content. I've already done that. I'm way over geared for that zone, and there are no quests for me because I've already done them. So why are you making me go back to where I was before? I mean, that's so stupid. It's annoying. It is annoying as all get out, especially if the entrance to the like spell plague caverns. Mm-hmm. I hate that place. I don't mind doing the instance, but when I end up on the outside of the instance and
no,
it's I have to run all the way back to the beginning because I need to go. Because I'm not doing this area. I've already done this area, or at least put it.
So the teleport at the end really needs to take you back to Protector's Enclave.
Either that, or it takes you back to where you started.
On an epic, the teleport at the end should probably be set to Protector's Enclave.
Well, I might not be in Protector's Enclave when I started.
But at least you won't be at the end of the chasm having to run all the way through back. There's 50 gates in PE that you can run to real quick to fast travel. And there'll be no mobs trying to pull you in there. At least with that situation, that's an easy thing to do, to ask, to say, set this destination for this, and don't make us run through an entire adventure zone that's going to pull mobs and slow us down.
Yeah, exactly. Or I have to find my way back. I mean, there's one zone that is split up into, I think, 3 different sections.
Yeah, the chasm.
I don't know. I think
it is the chasm.
Yeah, and it's like, unless you know your way, you will not find your way back. And
it's disjointed. It's very disjointed.
Yeah, and it's like, it's like, if anything, you should put up signposts to say this way to. I mean, really, put up signposts. World of Warcraft had it. If I need to know where to get somewhere, I can walk up to a sign and say, okay, this is the, take
something
a left
in-game, something immersive.
Exactly. And that actually made me feel part of the environment, where I can go to a street sign and say, oh, if I continue down this path, this will take me to the Death Meadow or whatever it was called. I don't remember the names of it, but really, I was able to navigate the land because there are signposts that say, go this way.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
that's a great idea.
I've had the problem with.
Well, thank you.
Okay, I was in the chasm with my GWF. Okay.
Yeah.
And I queued for for Mount Hope now, the Lair Carthanats. And I'm in the chasm. I'm at the last area of the chasm, okay? And so throughout the chasm, I've been queued for this dungeon. And so, I'm at the last part of the chasm, and I'm like, the dungeon queue pops up, and I hit join. Well, we get through the dungeon. We actually beat it. I was surprised that we beat it. But guess where it puts me?
Put you right back at the beginning of Houghton now.
It put me at the entrance to the dungeon at Mount Hope now.
Yeah, so you had to run all the way back.
And so I had to go all the way back through Mount Hope now, and all the way back where I was at the chasm.
Yeah, that's exactly what Phobet was talking about with Spellplague Caverns. And again, higher level dungeons, the problem with things you can queue for is that if you have to find a solution if you're not able to, if you're not able to code, where my coordinates were when I go in a dungeon, you need to have something better than put me at the entrance of a dungeon that may be in a different zone and may not have quested all the way through there to begin with, to get through there, so I may not even know the way back. It turns into queuing is a bad idea. But that being said, I think I'm not really one to talk. I don't think I can really talk about that very much. When I did dungeons leveling up, I usually do them in the zone. Wait for that quest, and then you just go ahead and try and put together the group for it right then. If it didn't happen then, it's probably never coming back to it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's if they bring you back to where you if they bring you back to that zone, it's in context when you're leveling up. It's okay. I just defeated the bad guy, and I'm in the zone that's in context for the dungeon I just did. But if I'm doing an epic, I might not care about the zone. I might have already done the zone, and I really don't want to be here. I'd rather be back where I was doing my dailies for the campaign. If that's where I started. My whole thing is and I agree. Either put me in Protector's Enclave because I probably have to empty my bags, or really, when you say agreed on greens and stuff, you're going to sell that stuff,
Yeah, you really do.
Or
put me in a bag full of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Put me in Protective Enclave so I don't have to find my way back, or put me back to where I was so I can continue doing what I was doing. So if I'm in the middle of Dread Ring somewhere and I queue for the Crypt, don't put me in the Black Dagger area because it's not where I want to be. If I wanted to be there, I would have been there.
The alternate is whatever zone you were in before the queue took you to the dungeon, put you back to the last campfire zone there, wherever the last campfire you passed by there. It used to be the campfires are more important. You can only swap powers at campfires. Campfires are great places to make important. It's just some things aren't for convenience. But that's about all we have time for this week. We're actually running a bit long, but that's okay. As always, it's been a great thing. I think our final thoughts are usually about our final thoughts today are going to be about that dungeon queue system. Whatever we can do. Obviously, a free-to-play game, there's a lot less money to go around to pay people to fix things. Sometimes old stuff goes by the wayside. When you make it in an MMO, there's always people leveling, and there's no way to make it obsolete and delete it. So you've got to do some kind of damage control, keep that from becoming an issue. And especially when you're trying to gear up, you're still doing T1s. Tier 2s are a little more difficult to just jump into. So you're trying to build up from there, and so there are a few things that could be done. If not perfect fixes, if it's not possible to code me my coordinates where I was standing when I left and put me right back there when I come back, there's got to be some kind of fix there to make that more feasible for all kinds of play, in-game play and leveling play. So that's it for us this week. As always, our intro and outro music is copyrighted Cryptic Studios and Perfect World Entertainment. We don't own it. You've heard that a million times before. You're going to hear it a million times more. Now, you can find more of us on Podbean and iTunes. You can find me on, you can find us, of course, on Twitter at inside_NW and by email, Inside Neverwinter Podcast at gmail.com. And you can find the channel for the videos on YouTube. It's DJ Takuya, all one word. So if you're looking for more of us, more Neverwintery goodness, that's where you'll find it.
Neverwinter.
So thanks for listening to the Wentons. Safe travels. Until next week.
Till next week. Have a good night, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.